Hey, everybody, this is Brian Oberst, aka OBee, and welcome to the OBee Sports Talk Show, where we talk sports, mostly Ohio sports. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Kind of branching out a little bit here again, trying these shows again here. So here we are trying to do the OBee the Sports Talk shows. We'll just start with breaking down the Ohio State Rutgers game and kind of let you know what's going to be coming up ahead on this show. This past weekend, Ohio State took on Rutgers, and they got the win. They won by 22 points, 49-27. Really was not a very good game by the Buckeyes. They kind of let off the gas a little bit in the second half after being up 35-3. There's a lot of stuff to dissect there. Let's just start with the good. Obviously, Justin Fields, another great game. Had 6 total touchdowns, 5 through the air, and he ran for 1. And he just was he was on pinpoint again. He was pinpoint, hit his receivers, and everything was looking good. And for him, and he did a really nice job and leading his team to victory. And of course, we know that he's got some playmakers at wide receiver at Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, and they both had good games again. And Garrett Wilson over 100 yards receiving for the third straight week. And Chris Olave had 2 touchdowns, and Wilson had 1. And they both were stellar. And Jameson got in there and had 1 on the first drive for Ohio State. So the tight end and stuff like that. So it was good to see. It was good to see them, those receivers continue to step up, and other guys kind of take a little bit of pressure off Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. So that was always good to see. And going back to Fields, we know that he's probably the front runner for Heisman. For that performance, I feel like he's got to be the front runner, the leader of the pack. He's just been on point all season long so far after 3 weeks, and I think like you got to ride him and then think that he's the number 1 guy to get it. So Heisman. I'd love to know what you guys all think. If you guys think it's somebody else probably has the upper hand right now, go ahead and leave some comments below, and just let me know what your opinion is. If you think it's Fields versus somebody else, maybe somebody else that we hadn't even talked about. Because there's like Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence. Maybe there's somebody else out there. The thing is, like, we just said it's about the good and the bad. Well, really, the only good point was the quarterbacks, receivers, because on offense, the offensive line kind of got pushed around a little bit. Some big holding calls kind of pushed drives back farther and put us in tough long 3rd and long and 2nd long situations, and even 1st and long sometimes. So that's never a good thing when you're kind of going backwards, when you're a team like Ohio State that likes to push the ball down the field and score quickly, and it's kind of hard to do that when you're going backwards. So the line needs to get better. They really do, and they need to step up a little bit better, and hopefully going forward they continue to push through and they see where their mistakes are and they can pick up on it. The tight ends, they were good. They feel like they didn't block very well this week as they have in the past and past couple of weeks, and even going into last year. So they need to get better at that. But Rucker did have a couple good catches and got himself on the map again, and he got a score again this week. The running backs, looks like it's just going to be a struggle. We get used to a guy like J.K. Dobbins, and then when you don't have him and you got somebody else that steps in like Trey Sermon and Master Teague, and they just don't have that explosive pop that J.K. Dobbins did, that home run threat of taking in the house every time he touches the ball. And Sermon, maybe he's just got to try to run the offense. I know a lot of people, are probably tired of seeing Sermon out there, thinking he's not what he's supposed to be, is not that good, and so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how that goes for him and going forward. Master Teague, maybe he's just like a Carlos Hyde type back, just with not much speed or whatever or something like that, But he had some pretty good run. He did all right. I mean, he did have another touchdown this week, so I guess you can't fault him for that. Our defense has got to get better. all around. The defensive line didn't really put a whole lot of pressure on uh, Rutgers and out of position. Same with the linebackers and secondary. They were just all confused because the Rutgers were running a lot of trick plays, a lot of things that you're not going to see on an average day in a football game. And it's kind of frustrating when you see these trick plays and stuff work and stuff like that. You're like, this is not football, that's backyard football. But I guess you got to, when you're a team like Rutgers, you got to find ways to win. Uh, and they felt like that was their best way to win, was doing all these trick plays and trying to confuse the defense. And they did a very good job of confusing the defense. We could sit here and nitpick them all we want, but bottom line is they were allowed to position quite a bit. And secondary they didn't really throw the ball a whole lot when they did. So secondary wasn't tested a whole lot until like later second half. And that was mostly our second and third stringers. But still, even then, you need guys to step up. And I feel like they didn't step up enough. And Browning seemed like he was all over the field. And at times he was out of position. And you didn't really hear a whole lot of Borland or Warner this week, as they both were just kind of, maybe they just were confused what was going on. And Hillard saw some time, and he had a strip sack. So, I mean, I guess he would be a kind of a standout. Tyler Friday, Proctor, Lavin Wilson, and Fields were the ones that I considered standout players this week. And the secondary, they've got talent, but they got tore up out of position, and they missed a lot of tackles. And we know the bottom line is we know that our defense needs work. It really does. And the secondary got torched. And going forward, when you may not be challenged with the Big Ten with that, but when you're going to face a team like Alabama and Clemson, you need to really step up your game, and they need to do a better job of that. There was also we had too many penalties, and when you have penalties and stuff like that in a football game, it's gonna take a toll on you, and you're gonna struggle. It's going to push your team back and put your team in tough situations, whether on offense or defense. So you need to clean those things up. And like I said, we just need as a whole team need to step up. Ryan Day said something about, he felt like, this team kind of let off the gas and maybe just wasn't trying as hard. It kind of being lazy, caught off guard. And maybe they just were caught off guard because, you don't see trick plays a whole lot. And it's kind of hard to try to adjust for some of them because maybe some of you haven't seen before and stuff like that. But you have to get better. I mean, going forward, these are all every game's gonna be different, and it's kind of an interesting year because you are right into the meat of your schedule with the Big Ten, and the Big Ten always brings it. They play each other. They didn't have those warm-up games, so maybe these first few games, they're a little sluggish and trying to get their feet, trying to get their back on track from being off for so long. And guys maybe out of position because they may not be conditioned right and trained right and stuff like that. So going forward, you have to do a better job of conditioning yourself, being better prepared when it comes to game time so that you're able and you're willing to go out there and get 110% and not let off the pedals like that, because this was a game where you felt like maybe you could have seen a little more depth on, maybe especially on offense. We need to see what we have on offense, what these other guys bring to the table, and because you never know what's going to happen, and the more experience you can get for players in a football game, the better the team that you are. That's why you build depth. You need to build. That's how your team gets better. That's how the great teams are able to do it, because they bring the depth. Their depth gets in there, and their backup players get a chance to go out and shine and do their thing. And if you're in a game where you're just continually got to play your starters and stuff like that, you sometimes don't get to see what you got behind you, or what you're going to have to build for your future. And so I mean, overall, I mean, you got the win, and I know sometimes that's better than nothing, but I kind of feel like they could have played better. And they kind of gave up more points to the Rutgers than they probably should have. But it's being said. That being said, you're still number 3 in the country, and you could always find ways to improve your team. And that's what it's all about. Trying to find ways to improve your team each week, and go forward from here and learn from mistakes and go out the next game and step it up even more and and we'll get into talking about Maryland coming up later this week. We'll talk about them and break them down. Maryland's a surprise 3-0 team. So we'll kind of talk about Maryland and kind of what to expect from them. And so that's kind of what we're going to be doing on the show. I'm going to kind of each week I'm going to come and talk to you about what the team that we're going to be playing. We're going to kind of break it down, look at their team, look at some of their key players, and that kind of thing, and see where that team's at going forward, and what we kind of expect from Ohio State, and where we like to see maybe improve from each week to each week, where we can get better and bring that to the table against our next opponent. And then we'll try to come back on Sunday or Monday, depending on my schedule, and we'll break it down, and we'll talk about the good things and the bad things. Hopefully, as we keep going, we'll have more good things to say than maybe some bad things. So maybe we'll work out all these kinks and stuff like that in our offense and defense and get better going forward. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. And, I've done some sports talk shows before, and maybe some of you guys have heard them or listened to them. And, so if you're coming back to watch again, I appreciate you coming back. And I want you to try to get the word out to people, try to let your friends know, your family members know about these sports talk shows, because I want to interact with you guys. I want you guys to interact, comment, leave comments below, and just let me know what your thoughts are and what you may think about, going forward with the Buckeyes, and what you kind of, because really, you know what I think. I think this is national championship or bust. I think you fought to get back into the season, and we got a good team on paper. We do, and we've seen we got good players and good athletes around. So, so for me, it's national championship or bust. But I'd like to know what you guys think. How far do you think Ohio State could go as we kind of keep going forward? Talk about Ohio State. Where do you see they can improve, and where do you think they can get better? Let's try to interact, and like I said, just let your friends and family members know, and share this with as many people as you want. And keep coming back here and checking out my shows, and we're gonna get this rolling, and you can help me with some ideas, and let's just have some fun with this, and maybe not spend. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time talking, but leave your comments below, and check out my channel and OBee channel, and this is the OBee Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, OBee, and if there's anything I can do to help you guys, help this show be more entertaining for you, feel free to let me know as well. And I appreciate you all here, and let's get some many people here to watch these videos and share our thoughts about talking Ohio State football. Thanks, guys, for joining in. Go Buckeyes. Until next time, this is OBee out.